Hi everybody, welcome back to the Sanford Fieldhouse. I'm Terry Vanderbeck with Sanford Health, joined today by sports performance specialist Andy Gillum. And what we're doing today is continuing our conversation around the COVID-19 situation as it pertains to athletes. Like much of the world, things have been thrown off schedule. Athletes are very routinized people, and they're kind of at a loss right now. So we brought Andy in today. Andy works with athletes, helping them get the most out of themselves from a mental standpoint. And he's going to talk today. We're going to address parents. We're going to try and give them some things that they can do to help the young athletes, especially in their lives, find some perspective, deal with their feelings, and then move forward, knowing at some point their lives will get back to normal. They'll get back to doing what they love. If you've been following social media of your own kids, you probably see lots of sentiments around, maybe I don't care if people get sick or if there's no fans. I just want to play, and those are all certainly valid things. But again, we're trying to encourage people to take the medical advice seriously and to have some perspective around it in terms of keeping the people close to them, those grandmas and grandpas who probably love watching them play basketball, who are maybe more susceptible to COVID-19. We want to keep them safe. So Andy, why don't we start? Let's talk about a few things here that parents maybe can do and should try and avoid. First thing, again, lots of feelings flying around. Talk about ways that parents can sort of handle, how do you have that conversation with your young athlete and get them moving in a direction that's healthy and productive?
First, do have the conversation with your athletes. Let them talk, let them have a moment to express themselves. And if they're sad, tell them it's okay to be sad. If they're frustrated they lost part of their season or all of their season, tell them it's okay to be frustrated, and make sure that you can use it as a teachable parent moment of how do we handle that frustration and sadness, and what is a way that we can do something to make it better or pass the time or spend time doing other things.
Yeah, and it's natural. A lot of us, myself included, athletic output is one of the ways I deal with just everyday anxiety. And so now that's taken away as well, right? To some degree. What are your thoughts on that? Is it important for the kids for the parents to encourage their kids to do push-ups around the house? We're going to get into that with our power coaches later on, but what are your thoughts around, from the mental side, the importance of trying to find ways to feel normal and use your body in a way that a lot of these young athletes are used to doing?
It can be, but most athletes at this age also can use a break physically. Yes, get some push-ups in, do something active so you don't just sit there all day, but realistically, having a break from your youth sport experience, your high school sport experience, it may be good for you physically. So we need to do something else. Maybe this is the time to get those room clean, get those chores done that mom and dad have been asking you to do. Now they actually have some time. And as a parent, what you really want to do is find a way to lighten the mood, make it fun, give them something to do, but focus on the family side, focus on the connection that way, because when the athlete's missing their teammates, they are missing that social support as well. So trying to find a way to stay socially connected to people while still following the medical advice and social distancing, trying to find that athletic identity, peer support, peer group can be really important for your young athletes.
Yeah, and that's a great point. Find ways to stay connected. I've seen a lot of creative ideas online for schedules for your family for the day, where you're all stuck at home and get some creative time, a family movie night, all those kinds of things. Earlier when we were talking off camera too, you mentioned don't fall victim to coach speak. Could you explain on that a little bit more, and the importance of having a pretty genuine conversation, I think, rather than sort of making kids feel like, well, you're not really even telling me anything?
So as an adult, I'm sure this is frustrating to your schedule as well. It certainly is frustrating to my schedule. And if you don't really engage with your kids, then some of your own frustrations may come out, and it will just be it's okay, it's going to be okay, sport isn't that big a deal, you'll be fine, we'll get through this. And realistically, that's not what your kids want to hear. They need you to guide them. They need you to teach them. They need you to be real with them so that you can have that genuine conversation. And it's okay to tell your kids that you are also frustrated, that you also are not happy with this, but you have to find a way to make together and find some fun in it, find some family moments.
Do we also anticipate there will be sort of stages to this? A lot of uncertainty, clearly. at some point, I think everyone hopes we'll start to know when things will resume again. Will we see people of athletic people and non-athletic people go through sort of those different stages as things move along?
Yeah, some of the more specific psych side is looking at these stages of grief. I'm not sure if we need to go quite that far,
Sure.
but realistically, we don't know a timeline yet. So anytime we put specific hard deadlines or hard schedules out, it's subject to change, and that isn't always what athletes want to hear and what they're used to.
Sure. Last thing for you. One of the great things, one of the reasons we all love athletics is because there's so many positive life experiences that come out of it. That team mentality, that playing a role where you may not be the leading scorer, getting comfortable with being uncomfortable, all those things we hear. Is it safe to say that that's another thing that we can do is encourage those kids who understand that language, though, to go approach this like an athlete? The kind of things you'd hear from your coach about getting through and persevering and becoming mentally tougher from things and experiences. Is that a fair approach?
Yeah, and one of the experiences we have here, seasons end in sport all the time. Abruptly, yes, and usually that's an injury. Well, here, your season ended, but you weren't injured. So it can still be frustrating, it can still be really sad, but we want to find a way that we can move forward, find something you can control, whether that's your mental approach, whether that's your just bigger perspective, whether that's being happy that you're not going to put grandma and grandpa at risk from them coming to watch your game or seeing them next week for your birthday supper. Having that moment to appreciate that you're keeping grandma and grandpa safe too.
Perfect. Andy Gillum, Sports Performance Specialist at Sanford. Thank you for being here. Stay tuned, guys. We'll be back with you shortly with more insights from more experts.